Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
My name is Tim Castle. I am a computer consultant for small businesses and independent professionals. I love technology. I'm good at technology. I actually got into technology the traditional way by being really bad at sports. So after that, the only things left were art and dance was too much like sports, and I can't draw stick figures. So technology was it. I've been playing with computers since I was 15, which, of course, at the time were all made out of big glass tubes because I'm really, really old. My son tells me I'm old anyway. But I love helping people get the most out of the technology that they have. When I first got into technology, I realized that I could figure it out really well. And working for a large defense company for 14 years after college, I figured out that I could communicate with people really well and find out what they need to do and then find ways to apply existing technology to what's going on, to their situation and help them get their job done. So that's kind of where I like to live, is finding the tools that help people get their work done and reduce the frustration of doing business. What I want to talk about today with you is how we deal with the information that we have in our business, how we manage our data, how we keep it, and how it helps us run our business. Just the other day, the news reports were saying, well, the internet is 20 years old today. Woo, that's great. So, 20 years. In 1993, the internet was turned on for public use. It existed before. But at that point, everything became open, and we could all go out and get our email accounts. And of course, not a lot of us did until later on that decade. But it's totally transformed our society, it's transformed communication, and absolutely transformed our businesses. We have so much data associated with our business. Even a small business owner has a lot of information that, frankly, if you didn't have it, you'd be in trouble. We're dependent on technology for this. So there's several types of data that we deal with. There's documents, a file structure. You've got proposals and contracts and invoices and tax documentation, receipts, and all these things that if you have them electronically, you're in a situation where then you can do things like call them up very quickly as opposed to having to go hunt through a file cabinet or a shoebox or anything like that. Other types of information we have electronically would be databases, and these are things like your CRM system. Could be your customer database, maybe inventory, point of sale systems, things like this, where it's sitting in some box and you access it through a custom interface to look things up. The other big pile of information we deal with all the time, and we don't think of it as important data, but it's your email and all the attachments that go along with that. These are just some of the basic types of data we deal with. Then there are three things we need to think about with regard to our business data. The first is accessibility. We want to be able to get to our data wherever we're at, anytime. Security. We don't want others to get to our data. And the third thing is survivability. We want our data to be there when we need it and not go away. We don't want to lose it. So you want to have all three of these pieces in shape in order for your business to survive. The buzzword is business continuity, so that no matter what happens, you can keep doing your job. If you can't access your data, or if other people can, or if your data is lost, then you're risking your business. I read a white paper just this morning. The National Computer Security Association put a monetary value on recreating lost data. This is a large example, but the cost to recreate 20 megabytes of lost data doesn't sound like a lot when you're thinking about your MP3 collection or your picture collection. But in terms of a database, it's actually a pretty large amount of information. To recreate 20 megabytes of lost sales data is going to cost a company about $17,000. 20 megabytes of accounting data, $19,000. If it's engineering data, we're going up to $98,000 to recreate 20 megabytes of lost data. So if you assign a monetary value, then you get a real picture of how crucial it is and what the value is of your data. So let me go through those three aspects. First, accessibility. You want to get to your data wherever you are. There's lots of ways to do this. You can carry it with you. Everything's on my laptop. I've got it. And take that with you everywhere you go. That's, in Go Ramp Up parlance, that's what we call barbarian, the barbaric standpoint, because it's just right there. And it doesn't give you full accessibility if you're not near your computer, or heaven forbid you lose it. That's kind of low level. And then there are other ways to have access to your data elsewhere. Like we're familiar with email and being able to get into our Yahoo Mail or Gmail on any web browser we go to. That's another way to have access to a lot of your important data. Other options are remote desktop. So I can sit here at my laptop and connect to my desktop at home. And all my important information is there, and I access it through this little pipe. That's sort of the rudimentary level in Go Ramp Up parlance. You want to get to something that's really, what's the top level? Idea? Enlightened, that's the term. I never remember all the good stuff. All the bad stuff is easy. The enlightened, the best way to go about things is to use cloud services. And there are even different ways of doing that. There's cloud storage like Dropbox or SkyDrive, BitCasa. I love BitCasa. Everybody's heard of Dropbox. Everybody's heard of SkyDrive. BitCasa is sort of sitting out there, and all the geeks know about it because it's unlimited cloud data for $100 a year, which if you price these things, you know that's pretty amazing. $100 a year is not a lot. It's, between $8 and $9 a month, and you can put as much data as you have up there. Now, you may not have a whole lot in terms of files and things like that you can store that way, but if you do, it's really, really good. And then there are cloud applications, things like Salesforce, High-Rise, CRM. On the Go Ramp Up podcast, was it number 4? You guys talk about the Go Ramp Up toolbox. High-Rise is a CRM system, and it's very good. You have all your contact information. You have tools for communicating with people. There are things like FreshBooks for invoicing, and DocuSign, which is real big in real estate. And then in addition to that, sometimes you need to share and collaborate as well with other people. So limited access for other people to get to your stuff. The security piece is keeping other people out of your data. You don't want people to be able to see it, change it, or delete it. There was a very famous story last year about a tech writer who somebody got into one of his accounts and was able to get into all of his account and basically deleted all of his online identity. He deleted his Twitter, deleted his Facebook. I mean, just took it all down. Sort of the baseline, the barbaric thing is you take your hard drive and you lock it up somewhere. Yeah, nobody else can get to it. But then you're not able to access it yourself very well. The rudimentary level, as far as I'm concerned, is encrypting. Encrypt your data. On your computer, you can put in a product like TrueCrypt or in Windows 8 BitLocker, which will encrypt your system. If somebody takes your hard drive, takes your computer, they can't get into it. The other thing about, here's another rudimentary one, passwords. I mentioned it earlier as my tip. Use good passwords. If you can't remember multiple passwords, use a tool like 1Password that was mentioned in the Go Ramp Up podcast. There's also KeePass, RoboForm, and lots of other tools for doing that. But the other thing that nobody ever does, well, not nobody, very few people do, is when you unlock your phone, slide, do you have a passcode come up or does it go straight into your phone? Most people do not lock their phone. I've got not only my data, but I've got customer data accessible through my phone because I use some of these remote services. I cannot risk my data. I really can't risk my customers. Lock your phone. I know it's a hassle, but you know what taught me the importance of locking my phone? My kids grabbing my phone, making goofy pictures and making it as my lock screen. That's annoying. So I started locking it, and I realized I need to do that. When I walk away from my computer, when it goes to sleep, I have to put in my password to wake it up. Absolutely crucial because, again, You can't risk your data, you can't risk your customers' data. And anti-malware software. Protect yourself from viruses and keyloggers and Trojan horses and all those. Keep it up to date and come up with a good strategy for making sure it's doing what it needs to do. For survivability, let me just run through this real fast. Can your data survive a catastrophe? A meteor hits your house, takes out your computer. Oh, and your backup drive, which was sitting right next to it. Oops. Backups are important. You can make manual copies. That's barbaric. Backup software is rudimentary. But if you're only backing up to an external hard drive next to your computer, you're not getting there. Cloud backup is the way to go. There's services like CrashPlan. You've heard ads for Carbonite. There's one called Mozy. There's lots of them. Cloud Sync, like Dropbox and BitCasa, can effectively be your backup, but don't rely on your data just living in the cloud, because sometimes services go away, sometimes they have problems. Have some kind of a synchronization tool is a way to go. And a backup is only good if you can restore your data. So try out some test restores with your backup routine. If it's not working, then you need to come up with a better solution. So we've got accessibility, security, and survivability. Now every business is unique, and the level of accessibility for every need for accessibility is different for everybody. But you absolutely have to have security, and you've got to have survivability. The right combination of these services can make sure you can keep your business going. So look into these things. If you have questions, email me. I love answering questions. I love to pontificate. And there are lots and lots of options.
You can go ahead and keep that.
Thank you very much.